the City University down in Festival Walk, next to Festival Walk, where they actually vacate part of the basement, putting in a very simple water treatment plant, basically a filtration plant with sufficient storage. And they clean the water from the sink, from bathroom, etc., and then turned it into a lower grade water for use for other purpose than drinking. So in fact, for all our water reclamation plants that we mentioned as pilot study, like the Longping one and also the Xiangshui and Setuhui one, that are wastewater recycling. That means you actually take the toilet water for recycling. So it needs a more intensive treatment process. The cost is high, something around $7 per cubic meters. But when you look at the one for Hong Kong Productivity Council and City University, they're using the cleanest the grey water. And the cost is, they quote something like $1.50. But of course, they discount the distribution cost. But even if you add that in, that could well be in a region of much less than 3. So that is the most economic way of treating the thing. Treat as close to source as possible. And in a way, we hope that we can make a breakthrough in that particular area by firstly, as government department, issue some standard and illustrative design for use by the developer. And basically, we have a consultancy working on that one. And probably in a few months' time, we will actually promoting that one as yet another total water management strategy initiative. Yes.
Yes, I would like to follow up on the previous two questions. The first point is actually on these bottled water that is being used quite often. If our water is actually drinkable, or indeed for the ones that hasn't got this management within the building for tanks, we could boil it, or quite simply, they are very simple. In old days, we used to have these simple filters within the home. Then we could actually save on, buying bottled water, which is definitely not environmentally friendly. And they are now advertising to say that theirs is distilled water and so forth. So that is one part of it. The other part about reuse, and we're talking about individuals and families. In fact, without this sophisticated plants that you mentioned, Mr. Ma, in the building, in fact, individuals could actually use the water again, right? So the ones that you've used to clean your vegetable could be used to clean the floor, or water the plants and so forth. So would that be another aspect of education that we should be doing?
I think I generate more questions for myself. Okay, about that. In fact, that's a very helpful comment. And in a way, the two observations are very valid. Taking the last one first. In fact, the grey water you use with individual buildings, water treatment plants is one way. But if every household want to do that, the way that you have just mentioned is, in fact, the cheapest way of doing that. But we again need to find a mechanism of promoting that. One of the ways that I'm thinking is to actually perhaps start a design competition for the university for undergrad. Challenge them with ideas of improving each and every piece of water using utensil and device at home. See how they can slightly modify it and that turn into a water saving device, right? So that is something that we are working on, and the program that we would probably be starting would be, according to my own plan, all right, hasn't been a very firm of ideas, is probably at around September, October this year. I hope that I can push forward that kind of thing. Well, simple. Basically, in some of the newspaper, they just show a very simple device. If you have a vegetable washing basin, all right, if there's not simply draining away, If you can wash it and then take it up, that can be used for irrigating, irrigation purpose for your plants or for other purpose. So it may not be expensive. It's only need some new ideas. Only need to new or slightly change in lifestyle perhaps. As for the first question, I will refer to Mike Fire or the e-bulletin. There is a very good video, all right, on bottled water. As water supplies department, we actually discourage the use of filter in a scale that you don't change the core of the filter as required, and then they become the breeding ground of bacteria. All right. As for bottled water, what I can say is that maybe there should be a choice during convenience, but that bottle got to be reused. All right. If there is simply something that cannot be reused, the dimension of the concern is not simply the drinking, or which type of water, but rather more waste, more environmental concern. How you're going to dump those bottles, right? And in fact, that video showed the people dumping the bottle by shipping to India, isn't it? Okay, and they're not recycling as they should have been, all right? So it's another type of environmental concerns on that particular point.
But the energy used?
Certainly, basically, the energy used for recycling bottles must be, and also the drinking machine, yes, I agree.
Yeah, just to give one statistic from the Civic Exchange report that some of you have, it's the blue report here. This was also, the link to this report is also included in the e-flyer, so if you don't get a hard copy, you can download your own. But there's an image in here of IFC2, and that is how much bottled water we drink a year in Hong Kong, which is a very graphic image. But I just wanted to, just touch briefly on personal water saving for a moment, and just ask if there are any Australians in the room. Okay, because I know, Australia is very much dealing with the issue of shortage of water, and actually I kind of teed this up. I know that my colleague from Civic Exchange, Andrew Lawson, lives in an area in Australia where you have to take care of how you use your water, and he shared it with me. I just wonder, Andrew, if you could just explain what you do with shower water in terms of time and waste, as a personal tip.
I have a small gas hot water system in my flat, so it only works when water comes through the system. So the first few litres are cold in the shower, so they're never used and they're wasted. I'm sure it's the same in the sink. If people are trying to get hot water immediately, they're wasting water until the hot water comes through. And so I've just got a bucket in the shower. I save those first few litres. I also let the water washing off me fill up the bucket a bit more, and that's either used for my plants on the dry days, I've got a rooftop, or I use it as toilet water. Once I've got a bucket full, it's a flush. It's a flusher's work. So.
Right. Just anyone else who has examples of how they save water, just for a short section. My wife washes the rice and then uses that for the plants. So. And that's great. The plants do very well. So, yeah, at the back.
Yeah, in Australia they do. In Brisbane a couple of years back, they had something called Target 140, which was basically a limit on how much water you should use. And even if you went into a shower, they limited you to, I think it was a minute and a half. Because people sometimes spend like 10 minutes in the shower and not enough to do. So it's just a very simple thing like that.
Yeah, Andrew also shared with me about a 4-minute shower. And,
he's a colleague.
He didn't share a 4-minute shower. He shared with me about a 4-minute shower. But showering with a friend is an obvious way to go. 8 minutes under the water. Okay, Maren.
One of the other systems probably just